talking with Dr. Wayne this morning, and this is cool. You just did this cool trip, and is this what doctors do to stay healthy?
I'm not sure to stay healthy or a little bit of a hard reset. You know, you've done many changes in your life, writing a book, you've traveled and so forth, and I think a lot of guys, I'm 43, a lot of us are trying to figure out what we're doing with ourselves and what's on the
finally
bucket
growing
list.
up. We're finally coming
20 years too late. But
we're coming to terms with the fact that we're adults, right?
Right. But, you know, we're all trying to kind of figure out, kind of like with Umbrella Week, right? I mean, people are trying to understand, what are we here for? What's our purpose? How are we going to make a difference? How are we going to leave a legacy? How do we learn constantly? How do we laugh wholeheartedly? How do we live fully? You know, and for me...
Are those things that doctors... I know that my traditional doctor doesn't really talk to me about, so what are your hopes and dreams? You know, he just asks me what's aching.
Yeah. Well, I think we're trying to now transitioning in healthcare to understanding the whole body. You know, what's going on with your mind, body, spirit? You know, where do you want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? Is that you because that's you thinking that way, or is that stuff that you have picked up through the medical literature? Is that stuff they taught you in medical school? Boy, that's a tough one. I think it's really just life experiences. You know, been able to travel through the journey of breast cancer with my wife recently. She was 41 when she was diagnosed. We finished up surgery and chemotherapy and so forth. And you begin to put life in a little different perspective. And what does it all mean? And where am I going? And, you know, what's the total picture?
So I know you're an entrepreneur, and you launched the company MD for Men, what, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago now?
16 months ago.
16 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's basically men's health from the male perspective, right?
Oh, exactly. Whether it's like a vasectomy, in and out, 30 minutes, simple, safe, and effective, 5 flat screen TVs. We're trying to change the way guys see healthcare.
Was there, you know, all the entrepreneurs I talk to, they always talk about a pain point in their thing, and then that's the actual like entrepreneurial term for this is the pain point, and you try to solve it. You know, like I've got dumpy coffee, well I'll make better coffee, kind of thing. And was there something lacking in that business when you went into this? Did you say, wow, nobody's paying attention to men's health on this kind of level and wanting to talk about these kinds of issues?
Yeah, I think we've always been talking about the issues, testosterone, erections, prostate health, prostate cancer screening, testosterone. But I don't think we've been delivering the message in a way that Neanderthals, man, we have a simple processor, or Windows 7. And we see
Windows
things.
7.
We see things.
It's like, I got Windows 98, man. I'm like,
you know, and guys don't see things the same way that society's presenting them. And we need to change that way. Guys want things simple, safe, effective, efficient, in ways that we can digest it. We don't seek health. We don't want to deal with that stuff until it's too late. And we need
when your wife starts saying, "Dude, you're not performing the way I'm." And you got to have somebody to talk to in an adult way, you know.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the place it is for us, is to create a place. You know, vasectomies. It's real easy. You come in, it's a single visit. You don't have to do the walk of shame more than once, you know. And you're in and out. You don't have. When I had mine done, my legs were up in the air. Guys working between my legs, needle, scalpel, and now we have guys.
Horrible.
We just have guys lay flat, 10, 15 minutes. We chit chat. I use an anesthetic spray. A couple spritzes on both sides.
Sounds great.
You know, so we're taking something guys are fearful of, and helping guys overcome that fear.
And then with the flat screens, you can watch the game the whole time.
No, it's fun. In the waiting, we call it the man cave.
Awesome.
And it's got 5 flat screen TVs. And during the FIFA World Cup, guys were like, you know, their brains are numb.
I love watching all that stuff.
It's an anesthetic for the brain, male brain.
I think soccer is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, soccer, football, anything, any
sports,
sports is. You sit there and you just get involved in it, and you forget about everything else going on,
Yeah.
I love it. So I've been wondering too. You know, we've talked briefly about the testosterone thing, and I hear sometimes these radio commercials, and they're like, "Do you have low T? You need to beef up with our." And I'm like, "Come on, man! This sounds like some kind of." It just sounds like a scam. When you hear it on the radio, like, low T and you need to beef up. But there is a medical thing beyond that, right?
Yeah, we call it hypogonadism.
Okay.
And it's a real thing. Just like, you know, folks might go in and get their thyroid levels adjusted, for example, right? So testosterone is also involved with the whole body thermostat. You know, whether it's bone density, muscle mass, decreasing the amount of fat around your trunk, mood stability, erections, libido, energy, fatigue, reducing fatigue. And same thing, you know, at MD for Men, we're not trying to make guys 18 again or make guys supermen. We're just trying to adjust that thermostat to help improve the quality of life.
You're not trying to get like the roided up guys.
Huge. Yeah, and, you know, it's a good thing Arnold Schwarzenegger's going to be taking over The Apprentice. You know, he can be a proponent for just men's health for everybody.
Right. See, I think he's in a very unique position to be able to do that. I think a lot of people are.
But no, I think it's gotten a bad rap for several reasons. One is that society hasn't really addressed it properly. And then the gym, folks in the gym and so forth on the internet started using alternative therapies. You got to worry about prostate cancer, sleep apnea, worsening prostate cancer, worsening voiding, making your blood too thick, clots in your lungs, clots in your legs, heart attack, stroke, things like that.
And if you use basically the non-medical kinds of techniques, right?
Or even if you just don't regulate it or monitor it properly. You know, providers, guests, everyone has to realize that just because some is good does not mean more is better.
Right. Yeah, because at some point then all of us end up looking like Arnold. And we don't want that, right?
Well, there's a lot of harmful things, whether it's infertility, stroking out, heart attack, death. I mean, those are big deals.
No doubt. Yeah. No doubt. So, I mean, how do you, when someone comes into your office, and do they say, I mean, do they have to have that conversation like, so I'm not really doing well in where it counts, doc? I mean, how do you have to have that conversation with somebody? Do you have that?
You know, it's really easy. I think it's because we've changed the tenor, the tone of where we're at. Yeah. You know, we don't have glove boxes on the wall, needle boxes on the wall. It's just two guys chit-chatting about what's going on in their lives. Exactly. You know, and it's very easy because we've got all the discussion already laid out for people. Right. And, you know, the staff are very welcoming and they're very used to talking about it.
That sounds like the fun part of the job because you're more of a counselor than you are a physician at some point, right?
I think so. You know, we talk about relationships. We talk about, you know, whether we're dealing with erectile dysfunction, it takes two to tango.
Right.
So sometimes I'm even giving sexual advice for the women, whether or not, you know, if it's working for them, how to satisfy them, or also helping guys figure out what they're doing with their lives. Right. That's the fun part. Really.
Right. Well, if your mind is on other things and you're worried about work or you're worried about being sick or you're worried about something else happening, it's hard to perform in certain circumstances, right?
Well, exactly. For guys, especially in our middle ages here, we find that for guys to perform sexually or in life, you know, we got a lot of static in our brains, mortgage, you know, work, wife, partners, kids, and sometimes we have too much static.
Wait, you just put all this stuff in my head. I got to take a minute.
No, but it's important to help guys figure out that it's really a lot of mind and body, and how do we help guys perform at their maximum? How do we optimize their life? How do they become version 2.0, the person they always wanted to be?
Yeah, become the Windows 10 instead of the Windows 7.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah. Well, great. Well, we're going to be back in a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew. We got a whole bunch more great stuff on the show today. Did you talk to Barry from the zoo? Did you bring an animal? Or is that... He brought some fake animals. He's got some animals over there. Nice. We're going to be talking to these guys. That'll be fun. We got a whole bunch more of the Morning Brew with friends.
There are very few signs and symptoms of prostate cancer.
Prostate is a cancer that can be eliminated if you have early detection.
My advice is to have a doctor in your life that you can trust and count on. Go talk to a doctor. It could save your life.
Get screened today. Call now or log on to mdformen.com.